I started riding when I was a kid. I'll never forget, first quad I ever rolled was a 250X. So District 14 is actually the largest AMA district in the US by member size. We have a great relationship with Red Bud. Amy and those guys, they work with us every year. They give us usually the opening weekend there. This has been my life for decades.
Yeah.
And I will be promoting and doing everything I can to build this series. Because if we build the district, it's gonna grow the nationals.
Right.
I just try to do my best to help provide them with the best series that we can. Something where they, everyone comes, has fun. Love to be able to turn on something other than YouTube to watch a racer TV.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or wait for the ride to come out.
I love Gloop, but I mean, the ride is the only way I get any coverage anymore. We're putting it forth more effort than, I'm sorry, but some of the nationals do.
Yeah.
If the series doesn't put out a post, that's the extent of what you see.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to Four Wheel Frenzy, the ATV Racing podcast. And today I have with me Ed Hayden from District 14. Ed, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you, Leon?
I'm doing well. Now, Ed, first of all, I kind of said who you are, but who are you?
I am one of the chairmen of District 14 ATV Motocross. Some people would probably, have seen me at races throughout the years at nationals, but the last, I'd say, handful of years, I've really kind of changed my focus to building and promoting our local series in Michigan and just trying to help that kind of take off.
And so, you're doing a lot of that with District 14, and obviously, you saying you went to some of the nationals, that's how I know you, is just kind of running into you a few times here and there at the national races. But what else, you're chairman in D14, kind of what else are you doing in the ATV racing scene?
Right now, honestly, with my schedule between two kids, one who plays college basketball, one who's in high school playing basketball, that's year round. And then running a race series, trying to get out to all the events, promote the series itself. Heck, I drove 3.5 hours to be here today to do a podcast about the series and about the sport.
You mean I flew you on my private jet, right?
Yes. We flew in, got the gated community, high ceilings.
Yeah.
But no, just kind of trying to help find new ways to grow not just our series, but help promote the sport in general. Work a lot with the tracks. We're trying new things. Last year, we really worked hard. We brought in more sponsors than we've ever had before for our series. We gave away a pit quad at our banquet.
Yeah.
We've done a lot more in the last couple of years than we really ever have. So, and with the, I want to say, numbers with them dropping a little bit since COVID, we're really doing everything we can to really try to go grassroots and really bring people back to the sport. Kind of reach out to those people that weren't already, aware of the series and try to get a hold of them and bring those little kids on the 90s to the track. They still sell them. All the manufacturers sell the youth quads.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. It's not just one brand that sells the sport quad. If you can get those youth kids in there, you can kind of build that foundation. And that's something that our district has really been good at, is having a strong youth core and those kids kind of graduating into, the schoolboy and then into the, A, B, and C classes and kind of going from there, whether it's in the district or, nationally. Everyone knows there's a lot of district riders, at the nationals.
Absolutely. Yeah. And obviously we'll touch base on more of that here in a little while. Cause one of the reasons why I wanted you on here, nice. One of the reasons why I wanted you on here is because one of the big things I wanted to do with this podcast was to help promote grassroots level racing, which is going to be your locals, your AMA districts and stuff like that. But before we talk about more with that, Ed, what is your history? You know, what brought you into ATV racing?
Let's see. I started riding when I was a kid. I'll never forget. First quad I ever rolled was a 250X with my dad on the back of it with me.
Awesome.
But no, when I was a teenager, my parents got me a 250R when I was 14 for my birthday.
Dang.
From a family friend. He even let me keep it in his garage because we didn't have one. And I'd pretty much spend all my weekends and nights over there just working on something. 2000, I think I finally did my first fair cross race.
Okay.
Somebody I knew from the neighborhood was an organizer at one of the fair cross series up in Michigan, and went out, tried that. Of course, really had a lot of fun. And 2001 was the first year I started running district stuff in Michigan. Ran my first national that year at Red Bud. Nothing like showing up for B class and then finding out Chad Wienen's out there and hit, in B class. And 25 years later, it's kind of got a different meaning.
Right.
So,
right.
But
yeah. So you raced your first race was in 2000. Year later, you're all in.
Oh,
Districts, nationals.
Yeah, nope. We
the bug bit you hard.
Dabbled in nationals. Did a couple. Went down to Kentucky, stuff like that. Like 2002, 2003. 2004, I bought a LTZ 400 that was completely built by one of the local pros, Ted Plachta. They used it in one of the magazine shootouts. It was a Canadian quad. It was one of the first LTZs to come into the States, and bought that off of him. And honestly, never got comfortable on it. That lasted about half a season, and I sold it and stepped away from the sport for a while. Around 2012, bought a basket case LTR and kind of got back into it heavily again, and did it heavy for a couple of years, took a couple of years off, and then, about 2018, my wife, we bought her son an ATV, and I warned her at the time, I'm like, if we start buying 8 quads again, my history, what's going to happen. And sure enough, we ended up racing, starting again in 2019, and here we are now.
Yeah, that's great. Now, I'm kind of jumping forward a little bit here with a question I have, but you ride a 250R now.
Yep.
Is that by chance the same 250R?
No.
Okay.
No. When I decided to get another machine back then, I wanted a 2-stroke, and I like the option of being able to rebuild something over the weekend and not spend $1,000 on everything. So, I mean, I have had 4-strokes since, but we have since parted ways, and it's just the 250R in the garage anymore.
It's full circle moment here. Some of your last 4-stroke is in my garage right now.
Yes, it is. You did buy the
a lot of parts of that are in my garage.
Yes.
But you did a lot of racing, off and on. How do you think that ATV racing has kind of shaped or changed your life over the years?
Honestly, I don't think people realize the work ethic, the dedication, that it really takes. If you're passionate about it, like for me to go from riding for years to coming all the way full circle, becoming a rider rep for our district, and then becoming the, co-chair, and really help shape how the series is run and kind of keep it going. I mean, it's a lot of, I don't want to say responsibility to kind of, keep it going, but it's something I take pride in, and I really go out of the way to do a lot for it.
Right.
I mean, it's a passion, it's a love. So I mean, if you're not willing to kind of do that, you're not the right person for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but no, it's really kind of helped me in that way, and thousands of friends.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. You said that your life is very busy with basketball, with your kids.
Yep.
It's so easy to just say, hey, I'm done. I don't have the time for this. But you've stuck with it, and you've managed to, do basketball and ATV racing as, the dad, and, I think anybody that is a sports parent, whether it's racing or ball sports, knows it's not just showing up to a game once a week. Like there's a lot involved in the background.
Like right now, I'm the assistant coach on on my daughter's team. So no, but we did take, some races off, we did step back a little bit when my son was getting more into travel ball, prepping for college and stuff. So we did, kind of take a little step back there. But once he was his freshman year at college. So once that happened, really kind of came back and had a little more time to dedicate to, help build the series.
Yeah. Which is really cool hearing that your son is doing college ball too. Because I think it was a couple years ago, we were talking on the side of the interstate doing a parts deal. And we were talking about prepping for college ball. Yep. And so it's really cool to hear that he is in it and going strong.
Yep. He's on full scholarship, playing Division II basketball. So up at Saginaw Valley.
That's awesome. Very cool to hear. Yep. And then, with that, what are some of the accomplishments that you've had with racing?
Racing itself? I mean, I honestly, we kind of, I don't want to say made a run at nationals, 2021. I think we made it to 6 or 7 rounds. I was happy. I was out there on a stock motored Can-Am, with all the bolt-ons in the world you could do. Yeah. But, I mean, to be able to take top 5s, on that machine, being the only one of those out there, just honestly, I think I finished 6th in 40 plus A that year. I've won a bunch of state championships over the years and stuff, but I mean, just being able to spend that kind of time with my, family and the memories made, all the road trips and that. Yeah. I mean, to this day, my daughter still has to go back to Loretta's.
That's cool.
And she's never rode or anything, just
the environment.
Yes, there. Exactly. Yep.
And I think the biggest accomplishment in 2021 then is to, you finished 6th. But you finished a season on a DS 450 without a grenade.
Those things have a bad reputation. It's dielectric grease is your friend. Yeah. That's what everyone needs to know when it comes to those things.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And it's a bad day when you change oil and it's extra glittery.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Especially since a lot of that stuff isn't available anymore.
That's part of the reason why it left the garage and is now in yours.
Yeah. And it's really sad that you can get all the parts to fix your 250R, yet you can't for your DS450.
I can build a complete aftermarket 250R right now.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So then obviously that goes into our next question, which I kind of gave a teaser of already. What do you currently ride?
Aaron's chassis, TRX 250R, we'll say. 310 CT motor in there, non-power valve. But pretty much, I know a lot of guys say with age comes cage. I just went a different route.
Don't do it.
I just went a different route. I just went to a slower machine. I don't need to hit every double out there. I go out there. I have fun. Got to work on Monday.
Yeah.
We've got a handful of guys that run. We have a vintage 2-stroke class in our district.
Very cool.
And we've got a good handful of guys that come out there. We battle on the weekends and just have fun with it. So nothing too serious.
That's super cool. Well, and it's really awesome. We're in the day now where you don't see, well, obviously most of your youth race quads now are still 2-stroke. Yep. But once you get up into the adult ranks, it's like you see a 2-stroke and you get excited.
Oh yeah, no,
so going from the DS and then because you had the DS and the 250R at the same time.
Oh yeah, I took them to every national. Yeah. I would ride them both on every practice day. Yeah. Briar Cliff, I raced them both.
Yep.
I ended up in the hospital, and then but no.
What year is that?
21.
In 21. Okay. No, I was not in the hospital that year.
No, I was.
I was in the hospital the next year.
Okay.
At that race.
Yep.
But yeah, it's so cool. And I mean, if you haven't ridden a 250R, you have to. You have to ride a 2-stroke full-size quad at some point.
Oh yeah, no.
Because it's just like riding a 2-stroke quad is like riding a personal watercraft. Like you can't do it sad. It puts a smile on your face.
There's something about the sound and a power band that just kind of, they're different. If you've never rode a 2-stroke, I mean, I've let a couple of guys on open rides kind of kids that came up running 4 strokes
Yeah.
and, go from a 450, and that's the first time they ever rode an R. They come off the track, they're like, no, I want nothing to do with that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's super cool. And that vintage shoe stroke class in D14 is that sounds very, very appealing.
we have fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's I'm not the oldest guy out there. I'm not the youngest guy out there, but I mean, on a good weekend, well, actually, I do know some builds going on right now.
Yeah.
Possibly some LT500s that might show up at some point this year.
Well, I know there in Michigan, there's a Banshee powered YFZR too.
Yep.
That thing is wicked.
Oh yeah, no, the Sykes have that, and then Miles Bergdorf.
Oh, that's right.
He built a KTM 300
Yep.
2-stroke, or is it a 350? I don't know. It's big. It's
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
It hangs with 450s.
Yeah.
That
That's a cool build too, actually. In the KTM chassis.
Oh yeah, no, in the KTM 450
Yeah,
chassis.
yeah.
So
Very cool.
yeah, he can't keep motor mounts in that thing.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. That's actually hopefully the destiny of your DS chassis too. I want to put a 2-stroke in it.
It wouldn't be the first one those guys.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. I know a couple people that have done it.
Yeah.
But, so going into the D14, then you said you're a chairman. What are some of your roles that go with that?
Well, so like during the off season, obviously going to the AMA meetings. At the meetings, we'll have just motocross meetings with the MX bikes, and then we'll have meetings with all the divisions in the AMA. So District 14 is actually the largest AMA district in the U.S. by member size. So, I mean, we have a lot of divisions.
Now that's bikes and quads combined?
Bikes, quads,
Okay.
every discipline between ice, hill climb, flat track, all of it.
Oh,
so,
wow. That's really cool.
But we have meetings in the winters, and that's really when the conversations start to kind of start establishing the schedule, and then kind of start those early talks, see, what tracks you might be able to get back into, and, shaking babies and kissing hands or however,
Yep.
But no, you're really trying to establish those relationships, at that point. And then you go through the rest of the off season, really trying to finalize, where you're going to be able to go. We make a point of emphasis to schedule on off national weekends because we will lose 25 to 30, 40% of our riders to the nationals.
Yeah.
They run both series. So they are that dedicated, and they will run every weekend if there's a race.
Yeah.
So we really try not to, have that, crossover with those. And then, once race season starts, typically I try to be at every event. A lot of times in the mornings, helping them with the groupings. Most of our events are combined with bikes.
Okay.
We do have events that are combined with like a ATV XC series.
Oh, nice.
So that's like an ATV only weekend. And then we do have a couple races this year with the vintage bikes.
Okay.
So
that's super cool.
It's the one nice thing about that is it's I want to say a little more condensed program. So you get done a little early in the day, but at the same time, the track doesn't get as beat up from either one of us.
Right.
So, really gives you a chance to kind of enjoy it. I mean, we love being out there with the motocross bikes. They might despise us because we take out some of the berms, but at the same time, you know
end
what?
up using your ruts anyways.
That's, I grew up riding with bikes,
Yeah.
and that's how we all learn. When you're play riding, you're out there. You guys are out there with your friends. Some guys are on bikes, some are on quads. And you just, But I mean, we have guys that run both. Will run on the same weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, Mason Jackson, Blair Miller, those guys will race a bike one moto and be out there on a quad the next. So I mean, it's you're pretty kind of helping establish those groupings, those race orders.
Yep.
And just kind of making sure the day runs good, and heck, I would even do a little play-by-play at Redbud, up in the booth with Larry Whitmer this year, kind of doing that. So, it was, there's a lot of things that kind of go with it, and it's a lot about building relationships and kind of, making sure that things go smoothly, and you want to be back next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and that's a big thing too, that I feel like some places will do that, but a lot of the series in that are trying to separate bikes and quads.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it actually helps being paired with the dirt bikes at events?
There's some events. I mean, yeah. I mean, no, depends on the numbers, really. A couple years ago during COVID, with both of us being, the bike series and our series being at a track, the event might go a little late in the day, and they weren't too happy about that. But at the same time, if the turnout isn't great for them, having us there kind of helps them make their money.
Yeah.
It helps them have a good weekend.
Right.
And
it's just, when you think about it, and anybody that might be listening or watching this that's a dirt bike guy and is anti-quad, allowing the quads to ride with you is just more money for the series, for the track, and it's just going to help everybody.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the more participation the tracks have, the better it is for everybody.
Yeah. And I like my personal experience. It used to be that everything was combined, quads and bikes. Your practice days were quads and bikes. And I feel like it kind of made a better rider out of both.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, for the most part, the quads don't, we don't mind the ruts. We don't, we deal with it. We're used to a changing track. Go to a national. You think there's ruts at a motocross bike district race, it's nothing compared to an ATV national.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, at the same time, usually it's the lower level bike guys that have an issue with us taking out some of the turns.
It's cool to hate the quads. It's not because you really hate them.
Couch riders, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
But
your fast guys, like, in my experience anyways, it's the fast guys and the vet guys that either don't care or think it's cool.
Yeah, so that's for the most part. I mean, like I said, we are gonna have we have races last year, we have races this year with the vintage class.
Yeah.
And our motos are all integrated.
Yeah.
So it's not like they run their program, we run our program. You might have 20 bikes on the line, one moto, 15 quads out there the next, So I mean that line's changing throughout the day. It's not getting too deep one way or the other. And honestly, I think if the tracks really if they set the motos right, they can really kind of help dictate how the track breaks down and kind of, you put the quads out there before the small bikes.
Yeah.
The kids, you got to worry about getting stuck in the ruts, or, you can kind of manipulate it so that, it kind of helps you at the same time, maintain your facility.
Right. And I don't know if you've ever attended an ice race, but I see it's kind of like what they do with ice racing. You got all these guys with studded tires all day, chiseling away at the ice. So then all of a sudden it's like, oh, send the rubber guys out. They brush it all off. Same kind of deal. You got dirt bikes that might be creating the ruts. Now the quads are going to go out there and reset the track a little bit.
It's also why they send the quads out when it's a mud day.
Yep, unfortunately.
First practice, ATVs.
Yep.
3 guys go out, and then clean bike practice, here goes the other 40.
Yep.
So.
And any ruts, the 3 quad guys took the same line, now that's the line for the
nothing.
day.
Yes. Yep, it made it worse, not better.
Yep, it's now single track.
Yes.
Yep. And then the other one I want to ask you about is, you said that sometimes you have weekends where it's moto quads and cross country quads.
Yes.
What is that like?
So we'll run our program in the morning typically. We'll run practice, and then we'll kind of mix up our motos, space them out as much as we need to really kind of give ourselves, give riders a break in between motos.
Yeah.
Depending on what the turnout's like. And then around 2 in the afternoon is when the large cross country, those quads will go out.
Okay.
And because they utilize the track as well.
Yeah.
So they'll usually go out around 2, 3 in the afternoon. They'll run their race. And then this year for our event, afterwards, I believe we're going to do a pick quad event.
Okay.
At that same race.
Yeah.
So XC versus MX. We'll see. Who's better on the 90s.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I suppose because how long is a D14 cross country race?
I want to say they're usually about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I've never ran one.
I think that's about the same as a GNCC. So essentially, they've got the track for an hour and a half. That gives the moto guys a nice little intermission break. That they can fix their stuff or go relax for a minute.
Typically we'll have our full program before they even start.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it becomes a bit of a challenge with the mini quads because it's clutch work, clutch work. How many motors got blown?
Right.
So that's where the challenge is really spacing those guys out.
Yeah.
For the most part, the big quads, those guys can handle it. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's, but when we're running a smaller condensed program, that's how this year's is going to go. That's up in northern Michigan. But,
yeah. And then I guess with that, you're saying big quads usually don't have an issue.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, well, your motos probably aren't as long as, especially a pro class.
Yeah.
What do you guys do for like a lap breakdown for motos?
Usually, four lap motos, generally, for most of the classes. On occasion this year, Red Bud, I want to say almost every ATV class on Sunday did 5s.
Okay.
So there has, or maybe it was Dutch Sport Park,
okay.
not Red Bud, but that was a state race, and due to the lap times, they actually bumped it up to 5 just to kind of give everyone more riding time. So
yeah. Which is cool. So it's essentially real similar to a national weekend.
No, 100%.
As far as laps go.
Yep.
And just to get off topic, that we'll get back on here for a second. Everybody says, bring back Red Bud. If you want to ride Red Bud, this is the guy. You need to follow his schedule, follow all the D14 news if you want to ride Red Bud.
We have a great relationship with Red Bud. Amy and those guys, they work with us every year. They give us usually the opening weekend there to let us come out. This year we had our biggest district event in years because everyone knew that was their one opportunity to come out to Red Bud. We had great weather and a lot of people, we had so many riders, they had to start giving us more motos.
That's crazy.
And that's integrated with the bikes. So they were, hesitant at first, but they were happy to have everyone.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said that weekend had a real national feel almost because you had, for practice in the morning, you had 40, 50 guys lined up, all waiting and staging to go out for practice. And it went from the track all the way back to almost, the booth there at Red Bud, just two quads deep the whole way.
That's crazy.
So,
and this year was the second year of riding Red Bud for D14, or third year?
Well, it's been on our schedule forever.
Okay.
We didn't always have a standalone event.
Okay.
If there's been years in the past, if there was a national there, we may not have a district event.
Okay.
So, but a couple years ago, we had an ATV only day there.
Yeah. Yep.
We had a really good turnout. Last year, we had it was a mixed weekend. It was their opening weekend for them as well, and we had a pretty good turnout then. And then this year just surpassed that.
Okay.
Both those 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So
it
just kind of it builds, and everyone's excited to go ride early in the year.
Yeah.
It's April. Weather's hit or miss. But if you get good weather, we draw a lot of people from Ohio, Indiana. Last year I think we had people from 7 different states at that weekend. So, this year we had, like I said, a lot of people from Indiana, Illinois, Ohio,
Iowa.
So, so all over the Midwest.
We're not going to say who, but some Iowa people.
He comes to multiple races.
He does. And I know he does a lot of D23 as well.
Yeah.
Gage Beebe, I'll give you a shout out.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I hope we'll see you at Baja in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. So, obviously, that just kind of rolls me into the next thing, the tracks in Michigan.
Yeah.
You're doing Red Bud. You've got Baja Acres is I don't know, a very well-known track. Like, I only know about it because of you guys.
Baja Acres is, I would argue, one of the top motocross tracks in the country. Definitely one of the largest tracks, not just in Michigan, but the Midwest.
Yeah.
The facility is amazing. They have one of the Moto Playground top 100 races. They host the Baja Brawl, it's called there every year. They bring pro bike guys in. It's an event.
Baja Brawl, that is
Labor Day weekend.
Labor
Day weekend.
Okay.
And then, but our next weekend, our next race is actually there at the end of June. We have a 2-day race weekend plus an open ride on Friday beforehand. And then right now there's talks with Mason Jackson and Max Lindquist possibly doing a riding school the Thursday before that. So potentially it could turn into a 4-day ATV weekend for a lot of people if they, if we get enough people to, sign up for that.
That'd be really cool. And those are two riders that would be really well to train with, or teach you some of the things.
You got two of the top
fast guys.
Yeah, two of the top 8 guys or top 10 points guys
they're
in the country.
two of the top 5 contenders any weekend long at a national.
Nope, and they're two of the youngest guys too.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
No,
Mason's he's a young little shit, that's for sure.
Watched him grow up. I watched that kid on 50s. I raced his dad.
Oh,
I've raced his dad and I've raced with him.
Yeah. No, and they're great people, and obviously they're from Michigan.
Yep.
Mason is, he's a fast Michigan rider. That's for sure.
We've had a lot through the years. We've got a lot of guys. I mean, all the way from the youth class up through the pros.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of staggered at all the levels. I mean, there's someone you can name, and whether it's a vet class, a 90 class, A class. I mean, so there's a lot of people.
When you look at the national numbers, we were just kind of talking about it before we started recording here, but it seems like there's a lot of riders that come from Michigan because there's a lot of top contenders that come from Michigan. And like you said, throughout 50s all the way to pro.
Yeah.
There's a fast Michigan rider, a fast D14 rider, not to just single out Michigan, because you guys have riders coming from all over the place. But there's so many people that when I talk to them, say I do the mini-sodes at the races, stuff like that, a lot of people, Michigan, Indiana, racing D14. And, Mason Jackson is probably one of the highlights because he was a threat in the 250 class. He was a threat in the amateur 450 classes. He's 2-time Pro-Am champion. And now, he's becoming a threat and he's moving forward. This is his second year in pro class. Yeah. And he's like I said, a top 5 contender all weekend, every weekend, and slowly working his way forward to that podium contender.
He's going to get on that podium this year.
I have a feel. It's quite possible. And I told him, I said, you need to get on the podium just so you can come talk to me. I don't know if he wants that or not, but
maybe that's why he's avoiding you, Leon.
It could be. We have had some secret recordings that may or may not go live at some point at the end of the season. It'll be a little like maybe a B-roll or something, but we've had some conversations, and he's not a huge talker.
No.
But when you do talk to him, it's a good time.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. We actually was messaging him yesterday, kind of getting confirmation on the riding school information.
Yeah.
Just to make, see what needed to happen so we can actually get that, in the works.
Yeah.
But, no, we've had I want to say our class structure, that our race classes really kind of allow for those kids to push and develop, in our state or our district, not just our state, because like you said, we have so many riders that come in from other states.
Yeah.
But like our 14 plus class, like I was telling you about.
Yep.
So we'll allow anyone 14 years old and older to run this class. I don't care if you're on a 250 mod or if you're Mason Jackson running pro class, you can come run this class. And what it does is it lets, the back of the pack guys, the C guys, to kind of start push themselves against the B class riders. The B class riders just kind of push and see how they stack up against the A class riders. Yeah. And then it lets 250 mod people come into the class and really they will throw a monkey wrench into there. I mean, because you'll get some 250 guys that show up, over the years we've had a lot of guys, but I mean, like Brock Alexander will show up right now, and next thing you know, he's contending for a top 5, and you got 16 guys out there on 450s.
Yeah.
So,
and he's on a 250.
Exactly. But it lets them guys kind of push and really see what that speed is like, and kind of establish, I don't want to say, kind of see where they stack up and what they need to work on, and it helps push all those kids. And in the youth classes, we have our youth open class. I mean, you'll have 50s, 70s, 90s, 110s, but each group is kind of contending with that next group up and really pushing and kind of getting faster and improving at the same time.
Yeah, which is really cool because you always. I'm sure you and I have seen this many times over the years, but people always say, You want to get faster, ride with somebody faster.
100%.
And, say you're shy, you don't ride with a lot of people. That allows you to do this. Yeah. And it's just show up to a race weekend, sign up for that class. Now you can ride with one of the top 5 pros.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, not many places. A lot of places, pro guys, they won't let the pros ride with them.
Yeah.
In the past, we used to have to create a separate pro-am class. Problem is, you're putting 2 people in it.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, like in our district, like Blair Miller, him and Mason will go out there and battle. Casey Fancher, he'll go out there, he'll battle with them. I mean, these are all kids that grew up together, rode together. They don't want to not be in the same class. They want to go out there. They want to beat each other. They want to get faster. They want to prove that point. I mean, the list goes on. I could name 5 more riders. I'll run our A class that could go out there and just bang bars with them.
Because I know, compete. Like you've got Alex. That's I mean, he runs pretty well up there as well.
Yeah,
you don't really.
He actually has a race machine that works.
Yeah. You don't see him outside of D20 or D14 very often, but I mean, when you look at the results, you look at the posts and stuff like that. I mean, he's throwing it down up there.
Oh yeah, no, I mean Carter Allen, Nolan Salisi. I mean, there's a ton of Tristan Cheney. Guys that were training, they were doing nationals. Yeah. They won national titles or competed for A and B class titles. This year, last year, the year before. I mean, so there's that constant competition and just drive and push from all these kids because they practice together, they race together, they're just getting to that next level.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always not only that is it really good racing and stuff like that, but some of those names you name, when you get the Jacksons at the track, you get the Cheneys at the track, James, when you get him at the track, I mean, I'm a big car guy, so I can sit there and talk with him about cars all day long, but a lot of these people, when they show up to the track, it's going to be a good time off the track as well.
Oh, 100%.
Because they're just really good people.
That's a big thing with like the district compared to the nationals. Yes, it's much more laid back. Off the track, everyone will do, they'll give you the shirt off your back.
Yeah.
They'll do anything for you. Everyone hangs out. Everyone has dinner together. Everyone's, just having a good time sitting around a bonfire. On the track, we're going to go out. We're going to battle. Don't take it personal. We're going to, there might be some paint swapped,
and that's just it. It's a good time and that it's good racing and a good crew when you're going to hang out like that at night. Next morning, your Nerf bar is getting pushed in. Like, this is happening.
You're trying not to, but
if it comes down to it, I will move your ass.
There's a couple I could name that definitely have punted each other off the track that have been named.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You just got to figure out which ones.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I will say that there's been a definite culture change.
Yeah.
I will say in the district since I started racing till now. When 12 years ago, it was more so, if you have a problem, figure it out on your own, But nowadays it's really much more, I want to say, like family oriented. Yes. I mean, our minis they're kind of ridiculous. Like our mini families.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, if I need food, I don't even need food. They're feeding me, It's just, they do everything for everyone.
Right.
I mean, there's guys who rebuild 4 other kids' motors on a weekend. They'll be up till 1 a.m. to rebuild the competition's equipment.
Right.
And that's every weekend.
Yep.
So the culture has definitely changed and it's great. It's for the best.
And we need to be that way.
Oh yeah. We're a smaller group.
Right. If we're going to survive as a whole, we need to stick together.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's great when you get to show, you wake up in the morning at a race and it's like, oh, hey, I brought you breakfast. Sweet.
Nope. And we actually have guys who have come, who will come from the MX side and they'll come on over and they'll race our series a little bit. And they're like, this is so weird.
Yeah. It is. It's so wild. And, there's a few other racing series that I know that do that in the car world.
Yeah.
And otherwise, we're all redheaded stepchildren when it comes to that.
What are you gonna do?
It's us. It's ATV racing. We're like this. I know drifting is like that, but we're all sports that are pretty small compared to what else is out there.
Yep.
But we named some of the big names that you have in the faster classes.
Yep.
But you guys have a lot of standout youth riders currently as well. one of the ones I can think of is Megan Shepherd.
Madison.
Or Madison Shepherd. Megan Shepherd is ex-WMX champion. Madison Shepherd is a youth rider in D14 that is shaking. And I spoke to her at Ironman in a minisode. I didn't realize, I knew she was a bit of a badass, but I didn't know how much of a badass she is.
I want to say last year she ended up tied for one national championship, or finished second in another one. I mean, she's someone who's battled for, titles last handful of years.
Yeah.
Never misses a district race. Had a bad crash last year at our last event and healed up and is right back out there again, battling for podiums at every national so far this year.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, she's also learning how to ride a 250.
Yeah, I did see
at
something
some of
about
our
that.
races.
Yeah.
So, it's been, she is definitely really quick. We have Hudson Nilsson. I think you had him on one of the minisodes. I mean, he's another one. On a whim, they went down, goes out, first national, wins. All right, I guess they're we're committed now. It's kind of how his dad said it to me. So, but I mean, there's a lot of kids. I mean, him, Justice DeBruyne. I mean, those, you come to a local race, the same, you got the top three kids. They sit there and they battle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some of the best racing of the weekend.
Oh, it's awesome.
I mean, you get those top 3-4 kids out there and they are banging bars.
Yeah.
And it's not what you expect. I mean, they're going side by side over every jump. There's back and forth. It's a blast to just even watch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's so great, going back to the family thing too, the youth racing is amazing to watch because they will bang bars out on the track. They get off, take their gear off, and they're either running or riding their bicycles over to hang out with those people they were just hating on the track.
That's their best friend.
And their best friends for the rest of the weekend.
100%. Half of them rather stay playing, out playing in the parking lot than going out on the track.
Exactly.
But, I mean, those kids, I mean, they love each other. They love being out there.
Yeah.
They're just having fun.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
It is. The grassroots racing is awesome.
That's why it's so important, though.
And that's why we need more grassroots racing across the country.
Oh, 100%.
But we'll touch on that more. But 2025 schedule.
Yeah.
I'm going to post it up.
Okay.
So if you're watching this, it's in your face right now. Tell me about some of these tracks that you have going on. And I think these tracks, the quality of these tracks is another reason why D14 has a lot of rippers coming out of it.
So Baja Acres we touched on,
Yep.
but I will mention something that did not come up. You want to talk about sand?
Yeah.
You want a sand track? This is a beach.
Yeah.
I mean, huge jumps and sand galore.
I have heard that.
That is one thing that a lot of people will vouch for.
Yeah.
After that, we have a race up at Dirt Inc., which is it's a non-AMA track. That is our event with a cross country series. But that facility, we had an event there last year. Phenomenal place. The owners bent over backwards to work with us. Everyone, I mean, nothing but positive feedback. Just kind of, it's in an awkward place in the state. It's the only track we have that's in northern Michigan.
Okay.
So it's kind of the oddball being up there, but
Where in Michigan is that?
So that would be, it's in Lincoln, Michigan, which is in the northeast area, northeast corner of the state, pretty much. So then after that, we are at Dutch Sport Park, which I would say is the sister track to Redbud.
Okay.
You'll see a lot of the same faces. They're working at both tracks. The owners from one are always at the other. But Dutch is a very quad-friendly track. Okay. Dutch, I've been going there for years. That was one of the first racetracks I ever went to.
Yeah.
Couple good doubles, a lot of tabletops. Like I said, very ATV friendly, and they absolutely love us. They have talked to me a lot about possibly looking into doing an ATV only event in the future, and they're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting things. Maybe getting more local businesses involved. So there might be some surprises to people who come to the track later this year. Yeah. And kind of check out what they got going. And
that just kind of goes to show how good you guys are in that area. Yeah. If obviously they see that you guys are, D14 ATV Racing, is something to kind of not really leech onto, but help support if they're willing to do a quad only. They want to bring some of the local businesses. Like, that's awesome.
I know in the past we've had Brendan Hoax come up to that facility. Rastrelli's come up to that facility. Prior to like Redbud weekends, and they've raced up there with us. But they really work with us. Lisa Wagner, she is one of the owners. Lisa is a former Loretta Lynn's champion from way back, back in the day. So Lisa's absolutely great. She works with us, does anything she can to kind of help us out, and really helps promote our series.
Yeah,
but. Then after that, we are at Battle Creek Motorcycle Club, which that is actually Mason's home track.
Okay.
They Battle Creek, nice facility. They kind of made some track changes this year, so I'm a little excited to see what that looks like. The vice president of our AMA district, he actually runs that facility now.
Okay.
So, but excited to see what it's like. I had a bad history from last year there. I went out there and I never made it out for the motos in practice. I went through the rollers and my calf exploded.
Okay, so, I do remember this now.
Yeah, you can still see the hole. But I'm back. But no, so I'm excited to get back there this year. Last year we were there with the Cross Country series. This year we are doing 2 separate types of races. On the Saturday race there this year, we're doing a GP style. It's going to be a single moto format. What the track layout's going to look like, we're not exactly sure. That is combined with the XE series is going to come in with that. But it's going to be probably one moto, 30 to 40 minutes long. On Saturday.
That'd be cool.
And then Sunday will be our standard motocross format. So we'll run a standard program with that. But no, that GP one, we'll see who wants to try to run that.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be really interesting to try out.
Because we're going to get some of the fast XC guys that come in for that. So it'll give kind of those guys a chance to really line up against people that they don't see. You know, and then I'm sure there'll be a small woods area or trail, section to it. So it'll kind of, mix up, kind of change things up a little bit. So after that is Big Air. Big Air Motocross over on the west side of the state. Honestly, if you've never been there, you're missing out. Big Air is probably, if you interview any rider in our district, they will probably say more riders will name that as their favorite track. Just due to the fact, if you like to jump, you like a flow, like just if you want to just go have fun at a track, that is your facility. It is just booter after booter. I mean, just one after another. The owners there, they are great. They really we have a great relationship with them. They actually reached out to me to try to get, I had to give them some phone numbers and that because they were inquiring about possibly getting an ATV National. They were looking at acquiring additional properties. They were looking at all kinds of stuff because they were that interested. But they are dedicated to our series and they support us fully. And like I said, if you've never been there, you're missing out because that track is a blast.
That'd be a cool, just because of the name, be cool to do an event there in the future where they actually bring the Big Air ATV tour out as well.
And it, like I said, it's on the west side of the state, so it's closer for them.
That'd be cool.
And that is one of our combined races with the vintage class. And at that race, we're going to do another pit quad, throw down there as well. So we try to do a couple of those, throughout the year. Even though their pit vehicles are banned at most facilities, we can still do the pit quad races. There is one facility that still does allow the pit vehicles. You just got to buy a pit pass at Baja. They do allow them still. But no, Big Air, like I said, it's worth the drive.
Hint, hint. Nick, Langus, Derek. Let's do it.
After that, we are up at Valley MX. Valley is a track that has been in the district for decades. Valley was probably one of my favorite tracks. It's the first track I ever remember winning anything on. They were always kind of the holiday weekend, you go there for 3-4 days, you spend the whole weekend there, you camp out and hopefully it don't rain because you're stuck there all weekend. But Valley, it's a fun track, very quad friendly again. some big stuff. You can go as big or as little as you want, but it's an absolute riot. They put in some rollers, like couple years ago, a little fun section. So they kind of made some slight changes, but nope, we're back there in September. And then to end the year, we are back at Baja Acres for their Monster Mash.
Okay.
Which
I'm familiar with that event.
Yeah, I think I've tried to get you up there a couple years in a row now.
Yeah.
We invite a lot of people to that.
do it at some point.
We invite a lot of people to that one.
Yeah.
I know Zach Kazmierczak usually comes up for that. Gage Beebe.
Yep.
We usually get a lot of people from out of town, come up for that event.
Yep.
Not only is it a phenomenal facility, they know how to throw a party.
Yeah, I've heard. I've seen some of the snaps too. So, and it's really cool too, for anybody that is worried, like, oh, I can't do any of this because nationals are my priority. Yeah. You have 4 events that are after nationals.
Oh, and like I said, we schedule all of our stuff. We had one race that actually fell on a national weekend this year.
Yeah.
So that's usually the most, we really do. We try to have around a 10 race series. People need to have lives. They need to have time to do what they want to. It's hard to dedicate every other weekend to running a district.
Right.
And, if we can have, 9, 10, 11 rounds, kind of really gives everyone a good, it gives you a good amount of races, not too far from home, within a couple hours drive. And then, it kind of spreads it out.
Yes.
So,
yeah. And that's what I like about it. You guys started in, April.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Redbud was the first one. Yeah. You start in April, and everything's spread out pretty nicely. You end at the end of October.
Yep.
So you're not burning yourself. Say you are just doing D14, you're not burning yourself out. Like, oh, gotta go. You dreading going to the track. Like it's, hey, I'm getting the itch. I want to go race again. So, and if you are doing the nationals as well, it's a nice spread to bounce back and forth.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we did have one track that shut down this year that was on the schedule. So right now we are in the middle of our largest gap.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it is kind of broken up, and it gives you a chance to really kind of pick and choose and really kind of run both if you want to, and still hit a majority of them. And, hey, if you're going to get in the points battle, you still have an opportunity because we do, depending on the number of races, we do take one drop or whatever if you're, trying to go for the state championship, stuff like that.
Definitely. Yeah. I just need to figure out, I need to go to a race, at least one race this year. I just need to figure out which one. We'll get her.
Check the schedule.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, because obviously, I need to experience this if I'm gonna. If I'm gonna promote it, I need to experience it.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah. So there's my excuse, right?
That's right.
I will get to one this year, and hopefully, maybe we'll bring this stuff. And we'll talk to some of these people that you guys have that I don't see at nationals as well.
Yeah,
so
that would be great.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
With all that being said, though, we always got to be looking towards the future.
Yeah.
ATV racing, we all want this to have a future.
Yes.
And for it to have a future, it's on us.
Yep.
So where do you see yourself, first of all, in the future of ATV racing?
Well, frankly, I'm not going to be chairman much longer. I'm 45 already. I know that. I was going to take over fully this year, but before the year started, I had conversations with Ryan Day, who is the other co-chair, and really kind of said it didn't make sense for me to take over fully, just to start looking for the next person already.
Right.
So this year we actually brought in Heidi Shepard, Madison Shepard's mom, and her and her husband Brett. They've kind of come in and they've started helping out more and more. Our goal is to kind of help usher her into that chairman role. Yeah. And then I will basically be more of a supporting role.
Yep.
But I mean, by no means am I going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, this has been my life for decades. Yeah. And I will be promoting and doing everything I can to build this series.
Absolutely.
Whether it's online, driving down to do a podcast, whatever it takes. I mean, driving from dealers, handing out schedules like this year. I mean,
that's awesome.
We've done a lot of things, just trying to help build and grow just in the district. Because if we build the district, it's going to grow the nationals. If you get that interest, you get those sales up. It's going to help get the manufacturers more interested.
Absolutely. So absolutely, yeah. And another thing with it too that I think that you brought on early in this episode was the fact that with the youth racing especially, there is more than one brand.
Yes.
There's it. Obviously, it seems, especially at the nationals.
Oh yeah.
It seems like everything's just throw all the money we have to build this turd CVT that's gonna break the first time my kid rides it.
Yeah.
Well, after one season, we ran out of money, so we're done.
In my head, like after our season started, I really thought about it, and it's like I'd almost like to incorporate like a stock 90 class.
Yes.
Just come out, have fun.
Yeah.
You don't need to dump thousands into a machine. Just, bring that Raptor 90, those 110s, bring those machines out as is, throw a number plate on there, a kill switch, and have fun.
Right.
You just kind of get into the sport a little bit, see how you like it, get outdoors, enjoy yourself.
Right.
And I mean, that's something to definitely, I don't want to say the nationals should look at, but we had a stock 450 class for years.
Right.
But especially at the grassroots level, having stuff like that available,
right,
I think is ideal.
Right. And when your kid is 12, you've got all sorts of options. You got the TRX 90, you've got the Can-Am, I think it's a Renegade 90 now, not the DS anymore.
Yep.
Polaris has something.
They
Everybody,
have the 110s,
Yamaha's got a YFZ50, they got a Raptor 90 or Raptor 110 or whatever it is now. There's all of the names
and you have
that you're used to hearing have something.
And you have a Chinese sport quad now coming into the market with what, a 250 or is it a 300?
KO's bringing the 300 over. The 200 or 250 has been here.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, this KO 300 is I'm waiting for my invitation to ride one. Joe from ATV On Demand. But it's supposed to be something decent. It's supposed to be like a good Raptor 250 replacement.
That's everything I've read about it. They've reviews out at Glen Helen. Everyone has said it's basically kind of like the Raptor chassis, something similar to that. And I mean, hey, if it takes a brand new brand to come in and really kind of help jumpstart like any type of sport quad, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, bring it up, release a 450, watch what happens next. You know who else is going to come out with one?
Anybody.
And all it's going to take is one.
Right.
One more brand comes out and it's going to slowly build. Right. And it's the whole sport is going to grow again.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's just it. And obviously our youth at the nationals and everywhere, there's a lot of talent in these youth classes. Yep. That bike that I cheer for on a national weekend is the local kid that showed up on some sort of well-known brand production bike, not the CVT race bike that, if there's a kid out there on a stock TRX 90, that is who I'm going to cheer for.
Like you said, that's a local kid. That's probably his first national.
Exactly.
He's out there. He's learning. He's having fun. I mean, probably intimidated as hell.
Right.
But, he's the only one out there on that type of machine. He might be, middle of the pack, back of the pack, but it doesn't matter. He's out there. He's doing it.
I hope they're having fun.
As long as if he's got a smile on his face when that helmet comes off, that's all that matters.
Exactly. So no, I think some sort of stock youth class, or anything like that, or even if it's a 4-stroke youth class, that opens up to all of the current production youth quads. Basically, it doesn't matter if it's a KO or a Japanese, a Canadian, an American product. Here you go. Sorry, DRR Apexes, this isn't your class. Because we know that you can make your machine 10 times faster than these.
You just need that starter class.
Exactly.
Just something to get
entry level. Yes. The true grassroots class. This is where it is.
And honestly, I think as a district, if we're able to kind of help promote something like that and kind of, get the dealers involved in, kind of promoting something like that, you make a sale on this, on one of them TRX 90s, that Raptor 90, hand them our information. Just kind of those kids, give them more options, give them a place to ride. They might come out, they might fall in love with the sport. Who knows?
It's closed competition. You don't have to worry about getting in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
And like we said, with everything being a family, you show up, there's going to be 12 people that are going to try to help you out and point you in the right direction
100%.
On what you need to do. And, if there's something you need to learn, they're going to try to help you out with that. And, you said you started out on a 250X.
Yep.
So what it's like. You were in the era where we had to learn how to ride turds and figure it out.
Yeah.
We're kind of in this stage now with all the stuff that's out there. So many kids don't know how to ride a piece of shit, and it shows.
They haven't had to struggle.
Right. We need to bring back this, here's a blaster, here's a 250X, 300EX. Here is a pile of crap that has 2 inches of suspension travel.
Oh, yeah.
Deal with it.
You learn real quick.
Bring it back.
Nope.
So and that makes, look at a lot of our legend riders in this sport. That's the kind of crap they started on.
They used to race those,
right,
which is the crazier part. So,
but D14 now.
Yeah.
What do you want to see for the future of it?
I just want to see it continue to grow. Mm-hmm. I want to see it continue in general, but mm-hmm. I want to keep, watching it grow. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that, there are more talented riders. They can go do more stuff nationally, mm-hmm. But personally, I just try to do my best to help provide them with the best series that we can. Mm-hmm. Something where they, everyone comes, has fun, and just help that keep going and getting bigger, mm-hmm. And if we can do that for a couple more years, our numbers have been pretty steady, as far as attendance the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. But if we can start getting those numbers to come up, if it's to the point where we can start having standalone events again, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal,
mm-hmm.
So, to do that, you're looking at, kind of 2006, 2007, 2008 type numbers. Right. But it's been a while, but no, hell, I would love to see that to happen,
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Well, obviously we'll do whatever we can to,
mm-hmm.
to try to keep building those numbers.
Yeah.
And so that's, we do everything we can. I don't know.
And the big thing that I like to see is that you are not at a decline.
No.
It seems like you're growing, or you're at least staying steady. And the numbers are good from what I see. Yeah. If they can get better, great. What are the possibilities? And obviously you don't want to start making people travel further.
Yeah.
But what would be the possibilities of trying to get some tracks from, Indiana and branching out a little bit like that?
I will say, at one point last year, I reached out to someone who you've had in this very chair, trying to get a possibly a battle mm-hmm. race going. Yeah. But OMA kind of dissolved.
True.
So that conversation ended quickly.
Yeah.
But we have looked into having potential races in Ohio, mm-hmm. Indiana, mm-hmm. at other tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. So. It even really, obviously you got D14, and then it seems like there's gaps. So you got D14, and then obviously OMA is gone now, mm-hmm. but there's a big gap. You got D6. Yep. You got D14. There's a bit of a gap, and then you have D23 in Minnesota. If you did some sort of battle deal and try to find a track in, say, Wisconsin, mm-hmm. that would allow, and then D23, D14 clash. It's
I'm all for ideas.
Right,
if there's a facility willing to do it and have that mm-hmm. conversation, we wouldn't be opposed.
Right.
So we'd probably get a decent turnout. I know Briarcliff was the
mm-hmm.
Example that we were kind of was trying to come up with ideas for something like that last year, because it's it's not too far of a drive. Everyone does it for the Nationals.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's you have a good draw down here in Ohio. Mm-hmm. You get a bunch. You bring an influx of another 50 plus riders in. Yeah. All of a sudden you got an interesting weekend.
Right. Exactly.
And a lot of riders that don't battle every single weekend.
Right. Because that's the other thing. Classes. Probably the one downfall. But you run nationals long enough with the same people, it gets the same way. But you ride with these same people for so long. Like say Mason Jackson and Blair Miller.
Yeah.
They've been riding together forever.
Yeah.
They know what they're gonna do. They know each other's racecraft. Yeah. So you come into a corner, Blair's gonna read Mason like a book. Yeah. I know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You get to something like this, well, now here's a whole new mix of people that you may have never ridden with.
Yep.
Because these guys don't race nationals.
Yeah.
You do or used to or don't at all race nationals. this is a whole new thing.
You got your local guys from this series, your local guys from this series. And I mean, all people who are very capable. It's just a matter of someone new to line up against.
Yeah.
You know, and it keeps it interesting, you know, when you can come up with different things like, that. And I mean, it is something we'd love to explore in the future.
Right. It'd be really cool to do something like that, a battle for the districts or something.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a whole, off the top of my head, and if you have one and I missed you, please get in touch with me. But there's 3 districts that I know of that are really running quads right now.
Yeah.
And that's you guys, D14, D6 with Rob and Michelle, and you've got D23.
Yeah.
I don't know of any others that actually have quad races.
I mean, the only other series that I really know of that, other than like any ATV and SE quads,
Right.
that's pretty much the whole Eastern, outside of, the West Coast.
Right,
I mean, that's pretty much everything in the East half
those
of the
are the only
US.
3 that I know of that are like an AMA series.
Yeah. No, all the rest are all standalone.
Right.
They're all multiple states, it's a region.
Yeah.
So it's much different.
Right. Because we're now, the last district race that I rode, and this is really sad because I'm from Minnesota, but the last district race I rode was D16 in Wisconsin. And that was 11 years ago. That was in 2014.
We actually had a rider come over from Wisconsin last year for our race at Big Air, and they came across on the ferry across Lake Michigan.
Oh, wow.
got to the race, and they actually had less travel time than I did to drive there.
Yeah. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
So we got your future, the future of D14. Yeah. How about ATV racing as a whole? What do you want to see in the future?
I want to see any OEM come out with something, because I think we can all agree all it's going to take is one to start building that competition again.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if it'll ever get back to, the money getting thrown at it and the dollars and TV deals and stuff like that. But I mean, I would love to see the sport grow in general.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the nationals doing well, love to be able to turn on something other than YouTube to watch a racer TV.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or wait for the ride to come out.
I love Gloop, but I mean, the ride is the only way I get any coverage anymore.
It's the only visual news.
Yes.
And I wouldn't really want to say news, but it's the fastest visual coverage that we get.
Yeah.
And obviously, Gloop's a one-man crew
Yep.
when it comes to the editing and stuff like that. He hires a couple film guys at the track, but it is just one man busting his ass to get this made.
Yeah.
So we have to wait at least a week before he can get this thing out.
Yeah.
It sucks. I've sat down and tried to think of, what does it take to get any sort of I don't want to keep throwing this word out, but grassroots level, live streaming, anything that isn't going to cost, I don't have nearly the amount of money to do something, but what's a way to do this on the cheap that it could possibly take off, and then now can we offer a subscription package or something?
Yeah.
But it's kind of sad to me, anyways, that it's us that have to do this.
It's the racers, it's the people involved with the series already.
Yeah.
There's no outside help.
And it's not
when
the
it comes
series
to any of that.
itself.
No.
So I mean, and is there anything that as someone that's raced the nationals, is there a way that you can think of to make the series better? Anything that we're lacking right now besides coverage?
I mean, the coverage is lacking, but I don't want to say it's great if you live in the Midwest.
Yeah.
If you don't, I mean, good luck, because no races are close to you.
Yeah.
I mean, not that, no one could afford, that lived on the East Coast, when it, would go out to Glen Helen and stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, it would be cool if there was a promoter that was more involved in kind of helping spread this, I don't want to say spread the series out a little more, but really kind of help build those events up and really promote those events and get those turnouts to where they need to be and bring in more spectators.
Right.
The way Jeremy does at Briarcliff,
Right.
he turns those races into events.
Yes.
And just doing, if more of that happened even at the current events, I think it would do wonders for the series.
Well, and the big thing, Jeremy's shown he's not losing his ass. Last year at the Legends race, I also have to point out, normally I have to worry about trains going by and train noise.
Yeah.
We keep hearing a 2-stroke Yamaha 3-wheeler going by through the ditch constantly since we've been talking. I kind of love it.
When I pulled up and a 3-wheeler drove by me on the road, and I'm like, where the hell am I?
It's just some kid that I don't know if he just picked this thing up or what, but whew, he's mixing her like 12-1 because she smokes too.
He's ready for the 2-stroke class.
Holy crap. But what's we getting at here?
But no, honestly, the help from the promoters, just really kind of like them building up these races and having more of an event.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be cool to see like one of these tracks bring in like the freestyle series, bring in something, turn it into like more of an event, and actually kind of try to draw some spectators, do some local radio coverage.
Right.
I mean,
a lot of
a little investment will go a long way.
Right. Yeah. And if you invest in it and you actually promote it, you're probably going to get that money back.
I mean, we're spending money to promote our district events.
Right.
We're paying for social media ads.
Yes.
We're trying to, we're putting it forth more effort than, I'm sorry, but some of the nationals do.
Yeah.
If the series doesn't put out a post, that's the extent of what you see.
Yeah.
We're spending more as a district, and it might be $20, it might be $40, but it's still more paid promotion than even what some of like these national events are doing.
Right.
And as a promoter, that's lacking.
It makes you cringe. Yeah.
So,
and because that's just it. Is if you have something else besides ATV racing going on, not only are you going to get spectators to show up and excited, you're going to get the competitors a little more excited because there's something to do.
Entertainment.
And,
you're paying to be entertained. You have a whole event. There's a lot more available. There's more to it.
And I don't think I want to know. But I've never asked Jeremy how much he spent promoting the Legends race last year. But just myself as a carny at these races, sitting in the tent and having people coming by, and I look up from working on JJ's bike or whatever, and I see somebody, I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you how he's going. Because to me, if I was that spectator and I'm walking by, and obviously JJ wasn't a pro at this time, but I'm walking by a team's tent, and somebody under that tent just says hello to me, that made my day.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
As an actual fan. But you talk to people, I was talking to people, these people came from all over the country just for this race.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a big thing to happen, but if you had something bigger besides just the ATV racing going on, you had some sort of sideshow attraction happening after the races or whatever, and you promoted that, you're gonna get true spectators other than mom, dad, sister, cousin, whoever's coming to the track anyways.
Yeah, it's great because for every ATV entry, generally you have 3+ additional people coming in.
Right.
That's just
on average.
That is one thing about the quads that, one reason why the tracks do like us.
Yes.
More people come with the quads.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you were to actually make more of an event and actually have something else that draws the people other than a series they're not familiar with, you really could help build some traction and get some people following the series and get more people interested.
Right.
To where can I watch this? Those people start asking those questions. If that interest is there, if there's enough interest, hey, more investment all of a sudden becomes available.
Exactly.
People are willing to spend a little more money.
Right. And it doesn't matter where you're from. It seems like you've always got people that, what's going on in our area this weekend? They're going to look something up. If you actually promoted that where you were scrolling through Facebook, I think everybody at this point just mindlessly scrolls through social
ads
media
anyways.
at some point. Yeah, you get a million ads nowadays. If you promoted, a race in your area for that weekend, how many people are going to scroll like, oh, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go check it out.
Yep.
Especially if you're going on Saturday only and it's, I don't know what it is, $25-$30 maybe, something like that.
$20. Oh, nationals, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, it's in. Obviously, I'm usually there from Thursday to Sunday, so I pay the $70 it is to get in the gate, which every year it seems it's another $10-$15 more, but that's not the point.
Inflation.
Iron Man showed up on Saturday with my wife and our daughter, and they're like, oh, what, you here just for today, or you here for Saturday and Sunday? So some tracks will do a 1-day pass
Yep.
that's cheaper.
Yep.
Some tracks I think will charge you both days regardless.
Yeah.
So, how is it? And that comes to maybe the series telling, hey, you need to have a 1-day Saturday pass for Pro Day and offer your, whatever weekend deal is. Yeah. But the other thing, you kind of mentioned it with, it's really good for people in the Midwest. It's really good for people on the east side of the Midwest, of course.
Yes.
But for this to be a national series, I want to see us go as far west as at least Colorado. And I have a track in mind.
Yeah.
And I have my many reasons why I'd want to go this track. But if we went to, say, Thunder Valley, it's amazing. It's right outside of Denver.
Okay.
There's so much to do.
Yeah.
I have family there, so it works really well for me.
Yeah.
But great track. Pro dirt bikes go there. I think everybody has at least seen the track.
Yep.
It's on a hill. Like I said, you're right outside of Denver. So that night you want to go to dinner, million places.
Yeah.
A lot of different things you can do. It'd be cool.
For a national series, it's
We
very...
need to go further than
It really...
Illinois. That's as far west as we go.
Yeah, and that's not far west at all.
No, you're still in the Midwest.
Yes. Yep. I mean, you're not even crossing the Mississippi yet.
No.
So
yeah, that's some of the things that I'd like to see. I want to branch back out. Obviously, we know that this, especially the nationals,
Yes.
and that is why we have districts, that's why we have grassroots racing, is to make this more affordable.
Yep.
If you ran the full D14 series, you're getting just as much racing as a national series. You're not traveling as much.
Nope.
It's a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
This is where all racers need to start.
That's the grassroots level.
Yes. And I feel like that's where grassroots needs more promotion, because I've talked to several people that their first race is at the national.
That's a rough way to learn.
No.
That's a rough way
You
to learn.
don't want to do that. No. If you want to quit the same weekend you started, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You're going against the fastest kids, adults, vets, the fastest guys and ladies in the world.
Yeah.
And you are just bought a 4-wheeler last week, threw some Nerf bars on it, and you're going to go?
No.
Oof.
No.
I'm sorry.
Go get your feet wet.
Right.
Do a carny cross.
Right. Find a fair
something.
race.
Yes.
Find anything.
Yes.
If you're anywhere near Michigan, go race some D14.
By all means, throw some Nerf bars on there, a kill switch, slap some numbers on there. I don't care if they're made out of tape, whatever.
You probably have a class that's a little bit more tailored to a vehicle like that too.
We actually had a limited stock class for quite a while.
Right. So, and that's how you're going to meet a lot more people that are going to approach you again and trying to point you in the right direction on what 100%. To do. You don't need that drag race 90 horsepower motor in your stock whatever.
No. And that's the one thing, like, a lot of people don't realize. Like, a lot of people, like, you see come into the sport, they'll go, like a couple races district wise, and we need to run nationals, and they're trying to run a full national series, like the second year they've ever rode.
Right.
And it's like, not only is that a huge investment, but like you don't really get that chance to really kind of like, I don't want to say like kind of establish like your speed and get comfortable and, really kind of learn the racecraft and all that.
Yeah.
You're just jumping into the fire, and it burns a lot of people out. It really does.
Absolutely. It does. Yeah. 100%. And as much as people want to say that they don't have any money, nationals is a rich person's game. If you're running a full season of nationals, you're not broke. Like, let's face it.
Either that or you're in debt.
I think, that could be
either
another
way,
thing.
It's probably both.
Either way, I mean, do these races where you're just driving a couple hours to do a whole series and figure it out. Have fun with this.
Enjoy it.
Right. Don't burn yourself out and hate quads for the rest of your life because, you went broke or you burnt yourself out or whatever. Have fun.
I mean, I probably still drive a couple thousand miles a season because I am one of the oddballs that lives in like the east side of the state, one of the suburbs north of Detroit. Yeah. And every one of our tracks is pretty much on the west corner.
Right.
So, I mean.
Yeah, it still happens. But you're not leaving your state.
No. No, not unless I want to go, make the trip down to Briarcliff, make the trip down to somewhere and actually, hit a national or go attend something.
Yeah. No, very good points.
Yeah.
I'd say. But, so let's say you are the person that's approaching somebody that's just getting into this. What do you have for advice? And it doesn't matter if, however to do this, what machine, what to do to your machine. What advice do you have to somebody starting out with ATV racing?
Take it slow. Don't go all in. Like, kind of, I don't want to say baby steps, but ease your way into it.
Yeah.
Whatever machine you have, it's fine. It's great. Start with that.
Yeah.
Kind of, build your way up.
Right.
Spend a season, I don't want to say struggling, but spend a season on that slower machine.
Right.
Spend a season learning how to push that slower machine. Pick up your, get some good tires, some wheels, you already have to have Nerf bars, kill switch,
Right.
Slowly build that thing up, and don't just like, all right, I need a full race hybrid or I need to go buy, one of Nick Janusa's used race quads or something, just kind of take your time, don't rush into it, because when you do that, financially, you're going to burn yourself out, and it's just, it makes it a lot harder. And I think you'll learn to enjoy it more if you kind of, like I said, take it a little slower.
Yeah, right. Stay within your means.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And honestly, it's, one of the big things that I always try to do as well is stay in something until you are overriding that machine.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got that 400EX because it's what you could afford, stay with it.
400EX is a very capable machine. So my son, he did race until he gave it up for basketball. He was the only guy out there on an LTZ 400, the machine I hated.
Yeah.
But he was out there on an LTZ 400, stock bore, running C class, once he was old enough, and out there having fun, battling with 450s, 17 guys on the line at a district race, and he's battling for podiums on a 400. But it's, you learn to push that machine.
Exactly.
As far as you're comfortable,
right.
And it's like, all right, finally, that last off season, all right, we rebuilt it, put a big bore in here. We'll put some cams, frankly, the budget, it wasn't there to go buy a new 450.
Right.
So it was like, all right, we'll put a little more into this, and we knew he wasn't going to be riding much longer.
Right.
And then, go out, rode that a couple times, and then, kind of made the decision to stop racing because basketball took over, when college was looking like a real reality that, to be coming soon.
Yeah. No, and that's, it goes back to, with the grassroots racing, be the grassroots racer.
Oh yeah.
Embrace it. Yeah. Run that machine.
Enjoy it.
Whatever it is. And like myself, I'm currently kind of working with ATV On Demand to do some build videos to get posted on their channel that kind of supports this. How do you make a budget friendly Z400 is one of the machines on the list because I have one still.
Oh, jeez.
Like, obviously, I think you've seen my blaster, at least pictures of it.
Yes.
But all these different machines where you can pick them up on Marketplace for a good price.
For cheap.
Very cheap.
Yeah.
What can you do to actually compete on it?
Oh, yeah.
Is this machine still competitive? And most of the time, the answer is going to be yes, depending on where you're racing.
If you're at a district race and you have a mildly built blaster and you know how to ride, I mean, you could definitely be competitive.
Right.
In some of those schoolboy classes, you can go out there. You don't even have to be competitive. Right. You can go out there and have fun.
Right.
And just enjoy it, and learn how to ride and just kind of just enjoy being out there.
Right. Because at the end of the day, none of us are getting rich doing this. This is all for fun. This is not a profession. Especially right now, there's no factory team calling anybody.
No.
This is us going out, having fun, putting a smile on our faces, getting some adrenaline. Like, if you're doing it other than that, you're not in this for the right reasons.
It's the only way to become a millionaire racing is start out as a billionaire.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Where can we find yourself and or D14 on social media?
So Instagram wise, Ed Hayden 198. for IG. As far as the district goes,
See some spicy 250R pictures and videos.
plenty of those.
Orange 250R as well. We did not talk about
And
that.
there's even more orange on it. So had some nice fresh powder on there right now.
Right.
So, but no, the district, District 14 ATV MX, there is a YouTube, there is an Instagram, there is a Facebook page. There's a separate Facebook group for ATV Racers of Michigan. If people are more interested in some of the conversations that go on, you know, try to send a request for that.
Right.
Join that group. But
There's a lot of really good stuff posted to that group.
so
It's
you're
not
in
a lot-
it.
It's, yeah, I'm on it. It's
So-
not a lot of like, you know, like the national one kind of gets a little annoying at times.
No.
The D14 one stays pretty on topic, and
we try.
Yeah, it's usually pretty good.
We try not to have to police it too
Yeah,
much.
right.
So it does happen, but no, for the most part, I mean, that's just basically a community forum.
Mm-hmm.
People, you know, find out who's going where, what practice day, who's going to be doing this, if someone's got something for sale, stuff like that. But no, I mean, the district stuff, you know, that's where we keep all the, you know, the promotional posts, all the stuff, you know, about the riders, all the reels, you know, kind of
Open rides on the tracks that are part
everything,
of the series.
you know, everything that we can, you know, if it's put out on one, it's cross promoted against across all of them. So,
yeah.
but no, definitely, this will be all over social media soon.
Hey, there we go. And then anyone else that you want to plug, give a shout out to?
Obviously my family, you know, they're huge supporters. My wife deals with a lot.
Right. The number one supporters, really.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, without her, I wouldn't be back racing again and doing all this. And I mean, she knows that I spend a lot of my time dedicated to the series and all that, and a lot of nights in the garage when I got time to my own stuff. And but I mean, as far as like series sponsors, honestly, there are some companies that I would actually really like to thank.
Yeah.
Companies like All Four Racing, Chad Reed.
Yep. Great guy.
Everyone is very familiar with him
Right.
with the national series.
Especially if you ever talk to him.
Yeah, Chad. I mean, they go out of their way. They help us out immensely. They want to do a little bit of contingency for that last Baja race this year.
That's
so
cool.
We're gonna have something lined up for that. Guido's Pizza. So they are Guido's Pizza. Sean McGuire, his daughter, she races our 70 class.
Okay.
And they do a national on occasion, but you'll never find a series sponsor that comes out to the track with a portable pizza maker
That'd be
and
amazing.
starts handing out pizzas.
Yeah.
So he goes above and beyond. Last year at Baja Acres for the Monster Mash, he must have made 40 plus pizzas
God.
and was just bike, quad, didn't matter who it was. He
Yeah.
was just handing them out.
That's a good enough reason to go to a race in its own. Just
So-
fresh pizza right there.
I mean, making them on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, so amazing guy, big supporter of the series. TK's Rain Away. Travis, the owner of that, he's a new sponsor this year.
Okay.
Travis is actually sponsoring Whole Shot Awards for the our next race at Baja Acres.
Okay.
For the first moto on Sunday, every single class,
That's awesome.
youth 50 all the way up to A class. Every single class is going to have some type of Whole Shot Award.
That's really cool.
So that was a really cool thing for him to do. Something different, and kind of gives everyone something to get excited about. So, Straight 8, which is James Chaney.
Yep.
The Cheneys, they've longtime supporters of the series. James is someone I could call right now, and if I needed anything, he'd bend over backwards to, help out.
Yeah.
So, great family. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, and that's a really cool business too.
That's
super cool.
Those cars are insane. I work right down the road from them, and I've been to the shop a few times, and I mean, you're seeing World War I Nazi vehicle.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's
so many car brands that most people have never heard of.
God,
like
no.
Duesenbergs and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like, whole.
And I mean,
so cool.
And they hand rebuild the entire thing.
And make a bunch of the parts.
Yes. Yep. Reverse engineer stuff as
Crazy.
needed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing what they do. So, and then last would be Cars Automotive Repair. another family-owned business. Their grandson runs our 90 series.
Okay.
Real fast racer. So, I mean, a lot of great sponsors. They really help us out a lot. And they kind of let us do, go a little extra at the banquet and stuff. And sometimes during the season, we'll have some extra giveaways because of things that they provide.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, my sponsors, the older I get, the fewer I have, because the fewer I want to bother with.
Yeah.
It just kind of turns out that way. But I mean, CRC Auto, everyone kind of knows, like, if they need something at the track, they need help something at the track, they come see me because I have I'm the CRC guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've been absolutely phenomenal. We're going on probably 5-6 years now.
That's awesome.
So they've been huge supporters for me. I mean, Kenda Tires, Tom Gens Powder Coating. Tom does an awesome job. If I need something powder coated, he'll do it tonight.
That's awesome.
So I might go over there, have a beer or two in the garage with him while I wait for it. But no, I mean, we have a lot of there's a lot of really great companies out there, especially in the Michigan area, in the district. And I mean, a lot of those people really do a lot for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great.
Yep.
And the other thing, like, as you're naming the series sponsors too, it's just really cool seeing that most of them are people within the series that are giving back, and that's what's really cool about a lot of the grassroots level racing is that, it's obviously the people inside that are supporting it, but it's not just racers trying to do things. You've got families that have businesses that are sponsoring the series and giving back to the series as a whole.
So I did actually forget one.
Yeah.
There is one national one, DP Brakes.
Oh,
Larry's not going to be happy about that. I'm sorry, Larry. But no, Larry's great. He sends us a bunch of stuff for the banquet every year. So, I mean, no, but for the most part, a lot of our sponsors, a lot of the people that support the series are involved or were involved at some point in their, in their lives, and they want to give back. They want to help us. They want to see it grow.
Right.
So they do anything they can to really kind of help, make that happen.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, the other really cool thing too with your series is that if you race the D14, you have a chance of winning a pit quad.
Last year we did a pit quad giveaway at our banquet. I
don't want to speculate and say you're going to do it again, but
we'll have to see what happens with the budget. So, but no, last year we had a lot of extra, sponsor funding, and we ended up giving away entries for every race entry you had. You got a ticket at the banquet. So last year we ended up giving a Raptor 90 away. Yeah. So
it's something.
What we do this year to be determined still. It's early. We've got a lot of races to go, so we'll see how things turn out. But I'm sure we'll figure out something cool to give away.
Give away another 4-stroke youth machine and introduce the 2026 limited stock youth class.
That would have been a great way to kick that off.
Hey, now you know.
So
you're welcome. No, but Ed, I really appreciate you taking your time coming down here for one.
Yep.
But taking your time, sitting down, talking with me, and help promoting the series because I've followed it for a few years now, and you guys do such a great job, and you can see that without even going to an event. Yeah. But I appreciate that. And I hope that the rest of the season goes great for you guys. And I hope that hopefully we can get some more riders to show up, especially at your remaining races after the national series is done. Oh, yeah. If you've got nothing going on, doesn't matter where you are in the country, hit one of these races up because you're going to have a good time. I don't want to promise you that, but very, very strongly believe that you're going to have a great time.
There will be a lot of people there to welcome you. You'll have some good competition.
Right.
I mean, some of the fastest in the country, race our series.
Right. You have a pro challenge where everyone gets to race against Mason. And if you beat Mason, you get to hold him down and beat him.
That's just called the A class. No,
But,
no, appreciate it, Leon. I
yeah.
mean, definitely happy to finally get down here and do this. I know
Yeah.
we've been talking for a while
Hey,
about it, so
it was worth the wait.
no,
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. But this has been another episode here with Four Wheel Frenzy. And of course, you can follow us on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you want to keep seeing my face, YouTube's where it's at, TikTok for the shorts. But hopefully we can get a lot more of these episodes in here, and especially promoting the grassroots level racing, because like I said early in the episode, this is where I feel like our sport as a whole needs to grow in order for it to go up in steps. The nationals aren't going to grow without the grassroots levels.
Yep, 100%.
So if you have a grassroots series, doesn't matter if it's a district series, an outlaw series, whatever, you want to promote your series, get in touch with me, because I'd love to talk to everyone that has a track with a series, just a whole series in an area, whatever. But I think at this point, how to get in touch with me via the social media or whatever. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll be back soon.